Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In this video I will discuss the new policy, new policy of Europe dictated by Starmer and Macron. Macron comes out, actually yesterday came out and said Russia is a threat to France and to the Europeans, to Europe. So he says, together with Starmer, that they will somehow put a nuclear umbrella over Europe. We're gonna find out what the Russians' response to this "you are my threat" is. Remember, if you consider me a threat and you talk about nuclear umbrella, you automatically get a threat to me, so that means I will take you as a threat. France decided, that's a different topic, decided to share or to fill the gaps in military aid and intelligence left by the United States of America by providing French intelligence to the Ukrainians. I have a question here. It's a rhetorical question, actually. Are these particular countries in the West helping Ukrainian people, or are they helping Zelensky, Stein? Ask yourselves this question. Are they really concerned about the Ukrainians or Zelensky staying in power? Because Europe wants a forever war, it seems like, and we have here a war between between two of the big three pillars that I think they are the profiteers and the organizers, planners of wars, and that is the banking system, that is the military-industrial complex, the war machine, and then the third one is the energy industry. And this war in Europe right now, I think, is between the military, the guys with the guns, and the guys who build guns, and the energy sector. I will show you. This is the war in Europe. The European generals gather in Brussels right now, together with Zelensky Stein, to discuss their defense policy towards, not defense policy, is not, let me get you the right term, because it's not the defense policy. Defense policy sounds nice. It says the detailed peace guarantees to Ukraine. So they are in Paris. The European Union has an emergency meeting in Brussels. Zelensky Stein is over there. Zelensky Stein likes what Macron said, which is Russia is a threat. No, Russia is not a threat. It's a threat only with guys who profit out of war. And this is the way they talk. In order to have peace in Ukraine, we need to arm the Ukrainians for more war and more destruction, so we can, have our war machine fed, and the banking system and the energy sector. Certain countries change their, change their policy based on this threat. Vilnius, which is the capital of Lithuania, they say they will getting out of any treaty involving cluster munition because the Russian threat. So that means, as I said before, remember, when they call a boogeyman over there, they could infringe our liberties big time. That's gonna come for you. How? Well, you are supporting our boogeyman, enemy, therefore you need to go. That's another one. I'm going to show you a country, small country, that continues the forever war. That is the Netherlands. I will put it in a context for you on the map to see who the fuck are these guys. All right, together with the guys in Lithuania. What else do I have here? Well, France fills the gap, that's for sure. Zelensky comes to the emergency meeting in Brussels, and Musk says that the European Unions really want war. They don't want peace. Now, as I said, they want to keep up in place Zelensky. They support Zelensky as a person and his little entourage that will have them profit, or the Ukrainian people. I don't think they are supporting the Ukrainian people. If they would support the Ukrainian people, they would stop the war. But they don't want to stop the war. All right, who know who they are. Let's start with the first threat, right? Coming from Macron, new voice of Ukraine. Russia now a threat to France and all of Europe. Macron decided for you. My friends, independent thinking. If Macron tells you that, it doesn't mean that's true. It doesn't mean that's true. You have a brain, you have your information, think about it. They come and say, it's for all of you. Therefore, they will make decisions in your name to do what exactly? Fund their sponsors. And what? Do you think these guys are going to fight Russia? I don't think so. It's all about the money and economics. Let's see what this baboon says. France is prepared to extend its nuclear deterrent. What does that mean? To EU partners, given the new era, according to him, of Europe facing an escalating military threat from Russia, French President Emmanuel Macron said on March 5. Don't they try to bring peace to Ukraine? The Americans try to do that as we speak? So what is this guy talking about? Why is he not joining the peace formula or the peace negotiations, or at least to support the Americans in that? No, because the military industrial complex in Europe, and not only, want the war to continue. And unfortunately, our elected officials are not are theirs. So let's see what this guy is saying. The French president made a statement during a televised address to the nation, which focused on matters of national and regional security. These guys these are tyrants. They will never go. Macron began by suggesting that given Moscow's plans to keep growing its military until at least 2030, Russia has set its eyes on shattering the European security architecture, evidently unwilling to limit its aggression to Ukraine. So, because Moscow grows its military, the only conclusion is that they don't want to limit their aggression. So the point is, if I buy more guns, all right, you don't know why. I don't tell you why. Let's say I'm buying more guns. The neighbor, blah, 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 over there says he's going to come for me. I need more evidence to support that. You can't just jump from one to another. What if I just do it to protect the neighbor? What if I do it to protect my family? Could those be also arguments? Now, if you claim no, because they are in Ukraine, then what about the United States of America? I didn't hear about France limiting its military capabilities. United States of America in the last 30 years bombarded at least 5 countries. Yugoslavia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria. What I talk about? So, and the budget is growing. So that means what? So this argument is imbecilic, but Macron, thinks that he is addressing baboons, which most of them are. Let's put it this way. So that's the evidence, right? And because the Russians are arming themselves. You are fighting a war, a proxy war, next to their borders. You even invaded his country. I'm talking about Putin. And you tell me what? They're supposed to lay down the arms? You can do that. The Russians will not. So this is the whole premises. According to him, Europe cannot be secure. Europe overall. Why don't you talk about your fucking friends? Why don't you go to war? Don't talk about Europe. Talk about you. Talk about because you're weak and you need numbers. To be secure without Ukraine remaining a viable sovereign nation. Is Ukraine a sovereign nation? This guy is a big liar right there. This means that Europe, including France, cannot accept an end to a Russia-Ukrainian war that would amount to Kiev's capitulation. So he talks in the name of not only France, Europe as well. To that end, Macron announced plans to host meetings of top military commanders from countries prepared to give Ukraine tangible security guarantees. That means Romania would say, well, we're going to give Ukraine security guarantees. What does that mean? Are you going to send weapons, military over there? The Russians will attack you. That's a declaration of war. No. Well, I feel threatened. No, I feel threatened. They all feel threatened. The Russians feel threatened. The Americans feel threatened. The Europeans feel threatened. The French, everybody. But who the hell is the aggressor? Because if you look objectively, they all have reasons to feel threatened. The Ukrainians had a reason to feel threatened. The Russians, the Americans, look what's going on, man. If the Russians take over over Europe, we're going to be next. The Europeans, if that happens in Ukraine, we're going to be next. The Russians, no, you brought your infrastructure next to my borders. So what are you talking about? Additional, France will initiate a strategic discussion about extending its nuclear umbrella, nuclear weapons that is, deployed, to European partners following a call from a likely future German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. As I said, he's a globalist, he's not a conservative. And I'm quoting, whatever happens, the decision on how to use nuclear weapons has always been, let me show you, always been and will remain in the hands of the President of France. You got it? So he's the guy. But hey, they have a democracy there. Next one. Russia Today. Macron labels Russia a threat. Moscow has dismissed speculation that it will attack NATO as nonsense. So again, here it is. The same guy said that Russia is a threat. Why don't you fight it yourself, buddy? Ukrainska Pravda. Russian foreign minister says Macron's nuclear rhetoric is threat to Russia. You got it? So if Macron will receive a Iskander or maybe a Oreshnik, then what is going to do? Then he's going to say, see, that's confirmation. Russian foreign minister Sergei Lavrov has said that French President Emmanuel Macron's nuclear rhetoric is the threat to Russia. And this is the quote from Lavrov. Of course, this is a threat to Russia. If he considers us a threat, convenes the meeting of the chiefs of staff of European countries and the UK, says that it is necessary to use nuclear weapons to prepare for the use of nuclear weapons against Russia, this is, of course, a threat. Next one. Macron remarks on possible use of nuclear arms, a threat to Russia. This is from Sputnik. Next one. Zelensky praises Macron's speech, peace, not surrender for Ukraine. So who want the defend the peace here? Those guys? No, they want a continuous war. So these guys prop Zelensky or they try to support the Ukrainian people. I don't think they, I knew this for a long time. They're just something. That's what they are. So he praises, obviously. Why? That says more power to me, which is whom? Zelensky Stein, the Ukrainian. Next one. France offers to share intelligence data with Ukraine. What kind of intelligence? I wonder. Making wine and cheese? All right. French Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu said in an interview with the French inter-radio station on Thursday, March 6th, that France is offering intelligence to Ukraine after Washington said it was suspending intelligence sharing with Kiev in an attempt to increase pressure on Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Ukrainian. No, this guy doesn't want peace. This guy's got his paymaster, of course. We have intelligence resources that we use to help the Ukrainians. No, I don't think it's the Ukrainians, my friends. I think for us, our British friends, oh, now your friends, who are in an intelligence community with the United States, it is more complicated. All right, well, if you're free, independent and sovereign. That's how you are. There, again, Ukraine 4. French DM, all right? We have intelligence resources which you share with Ukrainians. Zelensky is Ukrainians when I am Zimbabwean. France fills the gap. Ukraine gets intel lifeline after US shutdown. And what happens? French operator Eutelsat confirms readiness to replace Starlink in Ukraine amid reduced US support. So see how that's going to work for you. Eutelsat. All right? Have you heard about it? I heard it in 1989, I think, when we were trying to reach the satellites in the west to get something over there. So here it is, Eutelsat. Eva Bernanke. Oh, Eva Bernanke. I can only imagine who this person is. Has confirmed that in a company, what is it? Is it French? I don't think so. So this Eutelsat network consists of 600 satellites. 600, it's okay. I think the Russians have enough missiles to take care of them. A missile, you know what kind of satellite gonna just hit another one and that's it. The European generals to detail peace guarantees for Ukraine in Paris. So they will, who exactly is gonna guarantee for Ukraine in Paris peace? How do you do that? You're gonna send your military? These are the generals. They're not politicians. So if they are detailing peace guarantees, what does it mean? They are coming together and they're going to see what they will do militarily. Like what? Sending air defense systems? I don't think sending. You have to deploy them. You have to make an operation, a plan. What will be the plan? Fighting the Russians? That's what Macron said. That is a threat. And the guarantees. Are you going to guarantee the sovereignty of Ukraine? How? How? You're going to get to war with Russia? Think about this, my friends. Think about this. All right, next one. Zelensky obviously is happy about it. Ukrinform. Zelensky arrives at emergency EU summit in Brussels. This guy is the guy. He's not a hero. I think he's the butcher. That's my assessment as a free person. Now, let's see what Musk has to say about this. European leaders want, quote-unquote, forever war. I think that's exactly not. The masters need their paybacks. In Ukraine, people such as Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen don't want the conflict with Russia to end, the tech tycoon has argued. And not only that, Vilnius exits cluster munition treaty, citing Russian threat. But who decided Russia is a threat? Those guys. They decided for you. I don't think Russia is a threat. If you don't kill ethnic Russians in your countries, if you don't ban the Russian language in your countries, let's say these guys in the Baltic states have a big percentage of Russians over there, about 20%, not Lithuania, but Estonia and Latvia, they have about 20 to 24% are Russians. If you don't do that to the Russians, if you treat them not with a red carpet roll, normal, then I don't think there's going to be any problems over there. But if you have this rhetoric, and based on that, this is what Lithuania does. Exits cluster munitions treaty. Why do you think it's so? It's because of the military-industrial complex. They want to buy weapons. So that's the main guy here that supports that. And we have these guys that I really, really have a problem with. Netherlands discusses new aid package of 3.5 billion euros from the Dutch people for Ukraine in 2026. Remember, they think the war is going to last. Now, these are loans that the Netherlands gets the package from. Again, weapons. What do you think is that? New aid. That's weapons. Let's see what the hell, where these guys are located. So this is a map of Europe. So this is Russia and goes there. This is the European Russia, even though it's further than that. Now, for people who don't know who these guys are, the Netherlands are this little shit here. Exactly. This is the guys that are very much involved in supporting Ukraine. And this is Lithuania right here. This little thing, right? Latvia and Estonia. These are the Baltic states. Total population 6.1 million people. Now they're owned. And these guys are having a big mouth. How come these guys have such a big mouth? How come they are rich? Did you ask yourself, how come the Netherlands that are rich? A rich country? I mean, I understand the acquisitions of other lands and all that colonization and all that. But now what's going on? What do you have? Oh, you know what they have. And let's go to the last article here, which shows, in my opinion or assessment, it's a fight between the two of the pillars, of the three pillars. Here it is. While the military-industrial complex wants to continue the forever war, EU Commission postpones Russian fuel phase-out plan. So, Russian fuel phase-out plan is postponed. That means what? They will continue to buy Russian oil and gas. The Commission declined to comment on the new timeline, which is the European Commission has postponed announcing its plan to gradually end the region's reliance on Russian energy imports for a second time, shifting the date for March 26, the conversation. And it says the Commission declined to comment on a new timeline. The European Union aims to stop importing Russian natural gas by 2027. That is buying cheap natural gas, buying more expensive. That means your life is going to get more expensive all of a sudden. A goal set after Russia's 22. However, some member states have done little to diversify. Diversify, that is, get their gas more expensive. And Russian gas imports rose last year. The 27-nation bloc faces the tricky task of balancing energy security while keeping prices low to stay competitive with China and the United States. No, they lost that one, where energy costs are far cheaper. You can put here Russia, and it's even cheaper than that. So, conclusion. Dangerous talk coming from the Macron. I don't think Russia is a threat. If you use the reason, you make the connection between Russia, let's say Russia, let's agree with this. Let's say it's factual. Russia attacked and invaded Ukraine unprovoked and unjustifiable. If we agree with that, that doesn't mean that the next one is going to be Romania. It doesn't mean that the next one is going to be Moldova. And that doesn't mean that the next one is going to be Europe. Why? Even if we accept that premise, we should look then at the Americans. The Americans bombarded Yugoslavia unprovoked. NATO was not provoked. NATO bombarded Iraq. Did Iraq attack NATO? No. The Americans with NATO countries attacked Afghanistan, Libya, Syria. So the United States of America has a pattern. You can say, yeah, these guys are more inclined, much more inclined than the Russians to invade the rest of the world. Plus, you can add another aspect. How many bases, military bases, does Russia have in its imperialistic desire? 2? 3? How many does the other guy, United States of America, has? 740 and up? So who is more likely to really want to take over Russia or Russia take over Europe? Which one? I think the United States of America. I mean, by these calculations and assessments. So where is Russia is the threat? As I said, it's very easy. Don't come to my porch with a how do you call it? With a bullet on your barrel and cocked already, and say, I came here just to see what's going on. No, you can't do that. I'm going to smack you as hard as I can. And that's exactly what happens in Ukraine. Unfortunately, with the Ukrainians' lives, and but they don't care. These guys don't care. I mean, I told you many times, I use this, was the last, not the last drop, the last confirmation for me. When I heard Madeleine Albright, that, anyway, you know what I mean? And she was interviewed at 60 Minutes, and she was asked if the sanctions imposed by the United States of America on Iraq, which according to the data suggested had about 500,000 Iraqi children die of exposure and starvation, if that's worth, the price is worth. And she said, yeah, I think it's worth. And you can find it on YouTube. Look for that. So she didn't give a shit about 500,000 Iraqi children dying of exposure and because of the sanctions imposed by our country in the name of the guys over there. So children, that's 500,000, my friends. Do you think these guys give a shit about? No, they don't. No. How do you call this kind of people? Psychopaths, sociopaths, criminals, all of the above? You pick. So forever war, I think that's exactly what they try. But they don't dare to challenge Russia at all. They just talk. They will not dare. I mean, together with the United States of America, they couldn't kneel Russia for 3 years. On the contrary, Russia built its BRICS connections and it started sending oil, gas, wherever, all over the world. And these guys could not do shit. So they're losing. But somehow they want to challenge Russia. And do you know with whom they will challenge Russia? With your lives, with your children's lives. That's how they will do it. Remember, these guys are, I think, sociopaths and criminals, and more than that, narcissists and so on. Not good. And they're supported by financial, military, and other economic interests. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.